Now, today's topic, we're going to be talking about three main things. And these are things that in my opinion, every business owner needs to have in order to have a good and effective business. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some handouts in the chat. So I've got like 7 handouts that I want to give. So I'm going to give them all to you right now. Um, and I would suggest go ahead and downloading these. You can also hit the 3 little dots at the bottom of the chat thing, where the 3 horizontal dots, where you can also save the chat. That way you make sure that you get these. If for whatever reason that you do not get them, then please reach out to me either on Meetup through the notifications or on LinkedIn or Facebook, and then I'll make sure I will get them to you. Okay, so some of the things that we're going to be talking about is the number one is going to be the first thing is going to be you attracting your clients. Now, the, now, as you could probably, as you may not know, I know the lady that went to train the trainer knows that over the last 13 years, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars going to different seminars, going to different workshops, going to different trainings. And what I'm going to be trying to do right now is to give you some of that information today, so you don't have to struggle, or so that you can actually start building your business. Now, there's a couple of quotes that I would like to talk about. The first one was a quote by a gentleman by the name of Confucius, and he said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." And that just means that no matter where you are on your entrepreneurial journey, if you're just starting out or if you've been in business for 10 or 12 years, everybody's going to be going on this journey. And this journey can sometimes be difficult, can sometimes be hard. But the thing is as long as you're taking that first step and you're moving forward, then you're actually on a path to where you want to be. There is also a second quote by an actor by the name of Woody Allen, and his quote was 80% of success is just showing up. And I believe that is definitely true. For those that have showed up today, it shows that you're willing to do something different, that you're going to be wanting to build your business even better, and you actually are showing up to things that you have committed to. And a third quote that I want to talk about or mention is actually said by a character named Morpheus in the movie The Matrix from 1999. And this was part of the red pill, blue pill scene in that movie, if you've seen that movie. And he said, sooner or later, you're going to realize, just like I did, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. A lot of people say that they know what they need to do, but they don't actually put that into action. And by putting it into action is what is part of the walking the path. Now, I also want to share with you a core belief that I have. And that core belief says, I believe that you will always be more successful by creating and running your own business than you will ever do by working for someone else. And I strongly believe in that because I don't know how many of you guys have jobs right now, to supplement your income, and you're doing this stuff as a side job, or you've had a job in the past. Now, I learned a long time ago. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. Back after I was graduating graduate school, I was actually a computer programmer at that time, and I ended up getting hired by this one company as a subcontractor to work on a project that was going on. Now, how many of you guys remember something known as Y2K? Does anybody remember Y2K or even know what it is?
Yes,
No.
wasn't that when the year 2000 was gonna hit and they thought all the computers were gonna like explode?
And why is that?
Oh, because I guess like how the computers were built, the people didn't take into account like everything getting reset or something like that.
Well, back in those days, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, computer memory was very, very valuable. You had very little room to work with. So because of that, without having any forethought, they say, you know what, we'll just make the year 2 digits. So it's going to be like, instead of 1979, it's going to be 79, then 80, 81, 82. As we're getting into the mid 1990s, they realized that the first two digits of the year were the number 19. So when 1999 goes into the year 2000, the computer would think that it's going to 1900. And because of
Wow.
that, like say, reverse interest of 100 years, the stock markets would crash, banks would go bankrupt. All of this huge catastrophe was going on. So the whole project of Y2K was to switch from a 2 year year to a 4 year year, and that was the big ordeal. So that's why people feared the Y2K. Now, in 1999, I ended up finishing up my gig, and I asked my boss if I can go ahead and take a vacation, and he said that he could, that I could do that, that it was okay. After I got back, and this was in June of '99, after I got back after 2 or 3 weeks, he basically said, "Well, we can't find you any other work, so we're going to have to let you go. Oh, and by the way, since you only worked half the year, you didn't get your full 2 years, and we're taking that out of your final paycheck." And what that ended up doing, it left me basically not having a final paycheck. And that's the day I realized I could not trust corporate America. So I vowed at that time I would never work full time for corporate America again. And I ended up finding my very first entrepreneurial job. Now, at that time, I had thought you had to be rich to start a business. I thought you have to have $1 million to buy McDonald's, or to to hire all the employees and all that stuff. I never really thought about small businesses. And my first entrepreneurial job or uh, experience was actually working for a network marketing company. And I worked with that, had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea about the sales, had no idea how to even name my business or grow my business. And then by the time I finally started getting started, that network marketing company was shut down by the FTC. So it was no longer available. I'd had no more products available. I had no idea what to do. Eventually, I would actually start my real estate business. And when I was living in Wilmington, North Carolina, and this was in 2002. I moved to Vegas in 2004, and I ran a real estate consultation business for 8 years. And then I got my license, my real estate license, and I was a realtor for an additional 8 years. So I was self-employed for those 16 years. And one thing that I learned, while being in real estate, is there's a lot of people who say they want to be an entrepreneur, but they just don't know, they just don't have the skills. And that's why I wrote my book Launch, which was released in 2021. And then in 2022, that is why I started my business, because I wanted to work with other entrepreneurs to help them get past, whatever obstacles that they may have. So that's about me. Just to give you a little quiz of who I am the author of 4 books. My fourth book was a book called Launch, the A to Z in Creating a Successful Business. And in 2022, that book became my company, Optimal Performance Academy. And that's where I started creating online courses, as well as start doing group and solo coaching and consulting. Now, one thing I do want to go ahead and talk about, let's go ahead and talk about the very first topic of what we're going to be doing. Now, the very first thing that we need to look at is, who is the person that you're going to be trying to attract. Now, some people may call this is your ideal client. Some people may call this your potential client. Some people may even call this is your avatar. Now, if you look at the page 2 of the documents that I just put in the chat, I call this person your specific audience. And the reason I do that is because by saying the word specific, that means you have to be specific. Too many people go out there and they try to build a business, and they're not very specific as to who they're trying to attract. They're trying to attract everybody. And when you try to attract everybody, I'm sure you probably heard this before. At that time, you will actually attract nobody. And if you do attract 1 or 2 people, they will probably leave after a short period of time. And the reason being is that you're focusing on the wrong people. So when you're looking at your specific audience, you want to look at certain types of characteristics that they may have. One could be, what is their gender? Are they male or female? The reason you want to look at that is because men and women are motivated by different things. As an example, men have a tendency to want to fix things, and women have a tendency to want to be heard. So if you're trying to have somebody, you're running a campaign of being heard, then going after and targeting a lot of men is probably going to be wasting a lot of your time and money. Now, I would like to show a video here. This is about a minute and a half video, and I would like to see, where is it at? For you guys to take a look at this. I'm not sharing my screen, so okay. Okay, this is page 1. Okay. So some of you may have seen this video before. Some of you may have not. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Oh, so I'm going to share my screen. Screen 1. And I will have to enable the audio.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know?
Before I play this, can everybody hear the video?
Yes, I can. And
And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
Yeah, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See, you're
out.
not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, that sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Oh, come on. If you would just...
Don't.
Oh, I was thinking I would make sure I get this sound off. Now, how many people could relate to this to that video?
being the female, or
From either, because as the guy's trying to fix the issue with that nail in her head, and she's just like, I just want you to listen to me.
I can identify with both.
So I've seen that video for several years now, and it's still to me is hilarious. But the thing is, I do feel that people can relate to that.
Yeah.
So a second, go ahead.
Oh,
Okay,
I just said yeah.
So besides just besides just gender, another characteristic that you want to make sure that you're thinking about when you're developing your specific audience is what is their age or their age range. So how you speak to one generation is going to be a lot different than how you speak to another generation. I'm going to go and share my screen again so I can show you some notes. You guys can do a screen capture if you want. And I wrote this as I was getting ready. So going by the age range, here's are the different age groups that we have right now. Now, most age groups they actually approximately or shift every 20 years. People that are still alive that are going to be like your senior citizen, that's going to be what was known as the greatest generation. And these are people born in 1901 to 1927. And the people back then, these are the people who survived the Great Depression and possibly also fought in World War II. The next generation after that one is what is known as the silent generation. The silent generation are people between 1928 and 1945. Typically, these people were conformists, as they were also they had to stay silent during the McCarthy era and under the fear of communism. Back then, if people were considered or called a communist, that was a major thing, and sometimes they could be thrown in jail or even killed. After that, after 1945, it started with 1946, and these age ranges can vary just a little bit, but those are the people that are known as the baby boomers. These are the ones that were born basically right after the end of World War II, when all the GIs were coming back to the States, and that caused a huge explosion in our current population. In 1965 to 1980, these people are typically your Generation X people, and these are people who would live through AIDS, the AIDS pandemic, and also are part of the my TV culture. These also were LGBTQ rights started to reveal itself. People born between 1981 and 1996, these are your millennials or your Generation Y people. And these are people who lived through 9/11. They also remembered the time when Amazon was only a bookstore. I'm just to let you know, I'm born in 1967, so I remember all of this. And these people may also remember when they had dial-up internet. Does anybody remember the AOL, the noise thing that would happen when somebody was using dial-up?
Yes. Yeah.
And then Generation Z, is 1996 to 2002. These are people who grew up in a war where they always were connected to each other, meaning they had a cell phone in their hand, they had internet. They have no recollection of what it was like not to be instantly connected with people. And then the most recent one, the next one, these people are still young, will be your Gen Alphas. These are the people who were born in 2013, about 10 years ago, to about 2 years from now. So this is another category that you definitely want to be keeping aware of whenever you're developing your ideal client. And I just want to keep my notes on the screen just so that you guys can see some of these things. The next category that you definitely want to take a look at is, what is their culture? Does someone's culture actually matter? For an example, Asian people will often be attracted to different things than somebody else from Iceland or Africa. So somebody's culture may be something that you need to consider when you're dealing with your ideal client. Another one after that will be what is their level of income? Does the amount of money that they make, is that important to you? If you've got to say a coaching program and it's going to be $5,000 or $10,000, you're not going to be marketing to people that don't have any money. So you definitely want to make sure that whenever you're coming up with your specific audience, you understand what is their level of income. Another one after that is going to be, what is their marital status? Are they single, married, divorced, or widowed? Does that matter to your ideal client or your specific audience? One thing that some people tend to forget often is, what is their level of education? Are they high school? Are they high school graduates? Or did they go to a trade school? Or maybe they've got their master's degree or their PhD. Does their level of education, is that important? Now, one of the biggest ones is going to be this one here: is who are their influencers? An influencer could be one of many, many things. It could be what political party are they? What religion are they? What newspapers do they read? What books do they read? What movies are they attracted to? So all of these things are the things that could influence them. And you want to keep that in mind whenever you are looking at building your specific audience. Now, for some people, you may also have to find out, are they the actual decision maker? Are they the one that can actually make the decision? Or do they have to go home and ask their husband, wife, fiance, or something else if they can make that decision? For an example, again, if you say you have a $10,000 coaching program and the wife is definitely interested in taking it, maybe she needs to go home and ask her husband, can we take $10,000 out of this joint account of ours? So you always want to make sure, are they the decision maker? And then lastly, and this is not a completely the complete list, but these are things that you definitely want to start keeping in mind as you're building this. And then the last one I'm talking about here is what are their wants and what are their needs? What are their challenges that they have? How do you solve those challenges? Now, the first document that I put into the chat was one that's called a self-defined label. The first one that we're talking about, these are labels that you may give them. They also could be the other things that you may want to consider is what are the labels that they give themselves. For an example, a label could be an internal or it could be external. It could be something that they belong to on the outside, or it could be something how they classify themselves. Now, we talked about gender a moment ago as part of the labels, but also with all the gender ID that's going on right now, you may also want to look at as maybe they call themselves a transgender, or maybe they consider that they are a non-binary. And then we also already talked about influencers. However, let's look at some of them again. So religion, are they Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Hindi, Mormon? Is that important? Or maybe they're spiritual or agnostic or possibly even an atheist. Political affiliations could be, are they liberal, Democrat, or independent, conservative, or Republican? Other things that we've talked about is their influences, what podcasts and YouTube videos, what movies and TV shows, what books and magazines do they digest. Another a self-defined label could be what is their family relationships? Are they a parent? Maybe they're a mom or a dad, or maybe they're a brother or sister. And if there are one of these, are they an only child, or maybe they're going to be a younger, older, or somewhere in between? Maybe they are a child. Maybe they're a son or a daughter. Maybe they're a grandparent or a grandchild. Does this affect who your specific audience person is? Sexuality could also be something that you also may want to consider in their self-defined labels. This could be, are they straight or heterosexual, gay or lesbian, bisexual, or possibly even asexual? Now, the next two is going to be their nationality and their ethnicity. Their nationality could be, are they American, Canadian, Chinese, British, African, Australian, something along those lines? Does that matter? Ethnicity could be a subcategory of the nationality, meaning are they Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, or something else along those lines? Another self-defined label will be, what is their vocation? What is their job? What do they do? Are they a doctor or a nurse? If you're trying to sell a new drug to a hospital, you probably want to speak to the doctor, not somebody in admin. Maybe they're a speaker or a trainer or a coach, or a chef or a cook, maybe a student or a teacher. Now, age, we already talked about those. I think there were 7 different generations that we just talked about. So how they define themselves. And then other could be personal labels that they could give themselves. Could be, are they a vegan, vegetarian? Maybe they are a meat eater or not. Maybe they're a smoker or non-smoker. Maybe they're an addict or a recovering addict. Or possibly they could even be like a leader. Now, hobbies. Hobbies could be another self-defined label. This could be, do they practice yoga? Or maybe they like to travel. Maybe they collect something. Maybe they're a drummer, singer. Maybe they do sports like golfing, chess, runner. It could be anything like that. And the last one we want to talk about is, what is their ownership? Ownership could mean, are they an iPhone user or a Droid user? Are they a homeowner or a renter? Maybe they're a Mac user or a PC user. Or they could be a dog or cat owner. Now, one of the things you probably saw that we're talking about the Lisa Sasevich story. Sometimes people who are not within your specific audience may want to actually attend one of your events, or they may want to speak with you. And some people may ask, would I turn those people away? And my answer to that question would be, well, that depends. There was this one time, this is about the same time that I did the Train the Trainer course. I met this woman named Lisa Sasevich. Now, oops, I'm just now seeing the chat. Okay. So there was a lady that I met through Peak Potentials, or where the Train the Trainer class was being taught through. I met this lady named Lisa. Now, I ended up going to her event because I felt like I identified with her, and I would say the event that I attended was actually a very, very good event. The event had maybe 400 or 500 people in the audience. Now, in that audience, I was maybe one of maybe 10 men in the audience. Now, Lisa's ideal client was somebody that was to empower women, in particular, empower women business owners. However, she did also allow men to attend her event. And I would say out of those, the 10 or so men that were there was probably 8 of them were actually the husbands of the wife that was attending. So now I was maybe one of maybe 1 or 2 other people out of 400 or 500 that was there because I just wanted to learn. Now she had a saying in her event, and her saying was based off a derivative of her last name. So when she was on stage to motivate the audience, her quote would be "Let's be sassy," which is a derivative of sausage. Now, of course, she did not try to turn away how she was working on stage because there was men in the audience. She still just did her thing the way she did, regardless if men were in the audience or not. Okay. Now, are there any questions on that from this point so far as to defining who is your specific audience? If you guys want to unmute yourself or put something in the chat, I would like to hear anybody that has any questions.
Is it possible you could send us the document and attach it in the chat?
For this one here, my notes.
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, I could do that.
Thank you.
Let me. You're still seeing my screen. No, you're not seeing my screen right now, are you?
No.
Okay. So give me a moment. I need to print it to a PDF so I can send it to you. Because the chat, I don't think allows Word files to go through. Okay, so I'm putting it in the chat right now.
You can, were you able to? If not, you can just email it to us if you wanted to afterwards.
I don't have your email addresses unless you joined the event through LinkedIn. That's the only place where I can get an email address. So now that we talked about the specific audience, the next thing we're going to be talking about is what I call the specific problem. Now, what that basically is what problem do they have? You know, what is it there that's going to be on their top of mind? This is the thing that's going to keep them up at night. They're going to dwell on this all day long. This is going to be that big problem that they're constantly talking about. But here's the one thing. I want to talk a little bit about looking at things from a different perspective. Now, would you all agree that when anybody or sees an event, they're going to be seeing that event from the perspective of their past experiences? Would you all agree with that? You can put a yes in the chat if you or say it.
Yes.
Okay, so the thing is, if you are aware that some people they look at things from their own perspective, that therefore there's going to be there are multiple interpretations of what actually occurred, of how that person saw it. Now, one of the things I would like to share with you, and this is in the notes, is that is another definition for the word entrepreneur. And I would say an entrepreneur is a person who solves problems for a profit. Would you agree with that? Somebody comes to you with a problem and you're solving that problem for a profit. Okay. Now, the next thing is if you do solve problems for a problem or for a profit, then what problems are you going to be solving? And then once you distinguish what problem that you want to be solving, the next thing you need to do is the problem that you're solving, is there a demand for that problem to be solved? This is where you're going to be needing to go online and do some of your own research. This is going to be where you're going to be doing your Google searches or what Bing searches, whichever browser you use, and actually look for that problem to see if there's a problem, see if there's a need for that solution. And here's the one thing that I'm going to say here: when somebody comes to you to solve their problem, the problem that they have is going to be one of two things. It's either going to be their actual problem that they have, which is unlikely, or it's just going to be a symptom of a much larger problem. By being a symptom, what that means is now you're acting kind of like their doctor or as a doctor, and you're trying to say, this is the problem that you have. Now let me come up with a prognosis of what needs to be solved. So here's an example that I like to use. Let's say you're a health coach and you work with people, say, in a homeopathic or naturopathic way. And they come to you and they're constantly complaining of all of their headaches that they're having. And what you do is you go through and you ask them a few probing questions to find out, is this their actual problem? And what you find out is that their headache is not their actual problem. Their headache is a symptom of another problem. And let's say maybe that problem was that they're dehydrated. They're not drinking enough water. So what you may say, okay, this is how you solve the problem, and you show them your water filtration system, whatever, to help them actually get rid of those headaches because they're now hydrating themselves. Does this make sense so far?
Yes.
So what I would like to say then is that if their problem that they think that they have is not their real problem, I call that from the client's perspective, that's an unrealized actual problem. This is something they did not realize that they have. Again, like if you're going to a doctor and says, hey, I got the skin itch, and then he said, oh, okay, this is eczema or an allergic reaction, you now know that was not the problem. Okay, somebody just sent me a direct message. Okay. That was not the actual problem that they had. So for you, whenever you're putting together your programs, is to come to find out, like, what problems do they think they have, and then what problems do they have? Thus, if you say this is the actual problem that they have, then what are other possible symptoms? And then you can start building your marketing and advertising campaigns around those symptoms. So by understanding who your specific audience person is, then understanding who the specific problem that they're having, you can now start creating your marketing campaigns or blogging campaigns or whatever campaigns that you're running in order to attract the people with those problems. Because if you have a thing like, hey, I got this water thing, and you don't talk anything about headaches, well, the person that has the headache is never going to see your advertising. So you may have campaigns like, do you suffer from migraines? Do you suffer from whatever? And then you show your solutions that you have. Any questions so far on the specific problem? Because the next section I'm going to go into is a little bit more complex. And we'll wait a minute for people to unmute or to type. So the third topic that I'm going to talk about is what I call the specifics, is the specific solution. In the specific solution, essentially what that is that you're going to be coming up with one of three types of solutions that you're going to be working with your clients. Now, these, you may incorporate only one of these into your business right now. You may have two of them in your business right now. And your overall goal is possible to have all three of them in your business. And what I'm going to talk about is the three different types. So let's start with the one that most people have. It's something what I call the solution series. This is when somebody comes to you with a problem that they realize what their actual problem is, and now you're going to start working with them to get that solution. Now, most of the time, I'm going to assume that when somebody comes to you with a problem, you don't fix it in 1 hour, 1 minute, in one session. You're going to be taking them through a series of different sessions, and I'll give you an example of that here in a moment. So by doing that, that basically then means that you're going to be, they're going to be coming to you for a problem, and then you're going to be giving them a series of solutions that they need to be going through, or a series of steps that they need to be going through. Now, what normally happens is that whenever you start working with somebody, you want to fix that first smaller problem, and then you go through that series of steps. But the thing is, a lot of people, when you start solving those first initial problems, and they get that solution to that problem, that actually is going to either reveal or it's going to create another problem. So the thing is, your whole job as an entrepreneur, as you're solving, problems for a profit, is to take them through all of those steps. Now, let me start off with an example. Let's say you're a health coach and you deal with men that are, say, middle-aged men that are, say, between 30 to 50 pounds overweight. Your job is to get them back down to a healthy weight. Now, some of the steps that you may be taking them through is number one, how much do they weigh, and how much do they want to weigh, as well as possibly even say their body fat index. The next problem that you're going to have to probably look at is what is in their pantry and also in their refrigerator, getting rid of all of that bad food. Another one, a problem that you're going to be solving would be some type of exercise regimen and a nutrition plan, and also how to deal with sore muscles, probably keeping them motivated, and then also to maintain. So those are all problems that may be a part of one of your programs. And I have an example of that. I call this, what if this problem was the get fit for middle-aged men. You start them off, by getting the body fat index and weight, and then getting their goal. And then also, how do you start buying the right food in the grocery store? Then now you're buying the right food. How do you cook that food? How do you prepare that food that's healthy? How do you start doing stretching programs? How do you deal with the sore muscles if they're exercising? So as you can see, you'll be solving a whole bunch of smaller problems in that one overall program. And as I was saying again, as you can see, by them throwing away all the bad foods and they go and buy healthy foods, the next problem would be how do you cook it? How do you fix that food? And then also any other thing. So as you can see, as they're going along, you're solving one solution after another solution after another solution after another solution. This is why I call this your solution series. Another type of program that you may have is what I call a sales funnel. And there's many different types of sales funnels out there. Essentially, a sales funnel, we had, like, say, between 2 and 5 tiers in, or 2 or 5 levels in it. The deeper that somebody goes into your sales funnel, that means they're investing with you more and more frequently. The deeper that they go, typically it's going to be the more expensive that it's going to be. Whatever it is that they're going to be buying from you. Because it's more expensive, they also means that the further they go, the fewer the people that's going to go to the deeper and deeper tiers. And what I like to call in the version of sales funnel that I'm talking about here is a sales funnel where the level of contact to you, or we call it in the industry, we call it the level of intimacy they have with you is going to be different. Let me give this as an example. Let's say you write a book on a particular subject, and maybe you charge $24.95 for that book. And then you decide, what? I want to create an online course that's going to be teaching the same material that's in that book, but maybe that online course is, say, $4.95, $5.95, or $995. So now, instead of just reading the words that you wrote down in a book, now they're hearing your voice. They're seeing you on camera. So that level of intimacy from the client's perspective is more intimate, because now they're actually able to see you. And then let's say you have an online event, and that online event could be, say $24.95. So that's could be a 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day weekend event. So now they get to see you in person. They get to see you on stage. Maybe they even get to have a photo op with you. The next level in your sales funnel could be, let's say you have a coaching program and you have other people who coach on your behalf, that the client can actually work with that coach that's using your program or using your system. And I call it, maybe that assistant coaching program is $49.95. But they're getting the results, but they're getting it from somebody else, but it's based upon your own stuff that you came up with. Maybe the next level down into the funnel could be, maybe they can join you for, say, group coaching. So this is going to be where they're with say 4 or 5 or 9 other people or together, and they're interacting with you either in person or online virtually, where they are hearing your voice. They're getting words that you're telling them what you can do. And then maybe even a deeper tier could be one-on-one coaching. So now it's going to be intimate contact between you and them. Maybe you're meeting them in person or again online. So that is going to be, the deeper they go, the more expensive it is. But as you can see, the more intimate contact they have with you. Does this make sense so far to everybody? Yes. Okay. So the third type of solution series, excuse me, is a specific solution, is what I call a spiral revenue model. Or sometimes, for short, I could also call this the spiral model. Now, this is the idea that when I am working with coaches and trainers, this is the model that I try to teach them so that they can actually have income that can be coming in over and over and over again. So a spiral revenue model is essentially is the solution series that you have, but you put it on steroids. So what that basically means is that you would take them through you would take them through a solution series, but once that problem has been solved, that may cause other bigger problems that need to be solved. Let me give you an example. Let's say you are a dating coach and you help people find the love of their lives. So, maybe work on their confidence and their ability to go out and ask people out and go out into the world of romance. And that's your whole job. You want them to get them either a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, or a girlfriend. That is the overall result of your program. However, once they actually find that love of their life and they actually start that relationship, now they've got a whole nother set of problems. Like, how do you maintain that relationship? If they're going to be living together, how do you live with somebody else that you've never done before? How do you maintain that relationship? So that could be another solution series that you create. And that second solution series would have its own specific audience. Now, the people from the first set of solutions that you do, they could be a natural progression into the next series into the next solution series, or they could be actually you could have your own advertising campaigns to get new people coming in at that second level. So by creating a spiral revenue model, you're actually creating something where one program feeds into the next program, feeds into the next program. The ideal is you do not want to mix all of these together into one mega program because a lot of people that would be attracted to the second program may not be attracted to that first program. So it's good to have a series of or a spiral of different courses that feed into each other. So let me talk about an example on that one. Let's go back to the Get Fit for Middle-Aged Men. And your goal was to get somebody to go from to lose, say, 30 to 50 pounds. Now, maybe after the end of that course, maybe it's a 3-month course or a 6-month course, they're now at their ideal weight or they're close to their ideal weight. If they lost 30 to 50 pounds, what other problems do you think that they might have? I mean, would you say maybe maintaining that lifestyle? Making sure that they it's not just I'm going to diet to get to this weight, and now that I'm at this weight, you're not going to be dieted anymore, and your weight will fluctuate. So the next problem could be, how do you maintain that lifestyle? I know for me in 2010, I started a program called P90X. Now, does anybody remember what P90X was? Okay. A P90X was an at-home fitness program. It was a very intense fitness program, and it was it came with a nutrition plan. It came with specific exercises to do in a specific order. I think there was 13 different exercises that you did for that 13 weeks. In 2010, I started that program. I was weighing 240 pounds. And by the end of the 3 weeks or 3 months, I was down to 180. I lost 60 pounds in 3 months. Now, when that happened, I had a slew of other problems that came up. Can anybody guess any problem that would come up after losing 60 pounds? And you can unmute, yeah. Artemis.
Didn't have anything to wear.
Was that again?
You didn't have anything to wear.
Well, you're exactly right. That was the next problem, is that now I went from a double XL to a medium. And so my next problem was I had to get rid of all of my clothes and get a whole new wardrobe. Now, when I did that, I got together with two of my lady friends. One was about my age and one was like 15, 20 years younger. And what I did was I would go shopping with both of them. And I said, if they both agreed on it, I bought it. If one agreed and one disagreed, I didn't buy it. So that was another problem that I had. Another one that was going to be the maintenance, making sure that I don't go back up in size. So that, as you can see, for me, if P90X had a program that also had a fashion sense program, that would have been great for that company. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So let's say you had your Get Fit for Middle-Aged Men program. they got down to that weight loss, and maybe you have a second program called Dress for Success. So as you can see, the Dress for Success program will have its own specific audience because you're trying to get people to, in this case, men, to join that program. But it is a natural progression for the Get Fit for Middle-Aged Men program. That's an actual program next. Now, maybe a third program that you can create after they got their wardrobe. Maybe a third program could be Earn What You're Worth, which works on your confidence, works on you asking for a raise, works on that stuff. Do y'all see how that those are three completely independent programs that, but however they do work together? Do y'all see that?
Is this the spiral
I'm going to assume by
revenue
the
model?
size. I'm sorry?
Is this the spiral revenue model?
Yes, so the spiral revenue model is where one program leads into another program. So if you did a good job with them on the first program, they're going to trust you and like you, and there's a strong chance they might invest with you on the second program. Okay. Now, the next question, this is what nobody ever teaches you. People just say, go solve this problem and you're done. You're a health coach and you get done with it. Like, well, there are so many other things that you can be doing. And here is another thing. So, because I want you guys to think outside the box here, or at least start thinking outside the box. If you do not have a second program, what else can you do? Anybody? Nobody?
Maybe, yeah, I was trying to fumble with the unmute button. Probably, I mean, in my case with video games, if you have a game put out and you want to keep working on that game instead of making a new one, you just, post updates and you keep the program going. So, there's more options to choose from, more things to do.
If you're charging on a monthly basis, something like that, that would be perfect because you're adding more content. If you're charging a one-time program, then those could be updates, or those could be a purchased updates. But what I was kind of getting at, let's say you are somebody who works with pregnant women, so you help them through their maternity, maybe even going through giving birth. But after that woman has given birth, your job with her has just finished. But who would be a good next fit for that coach?
Maybe any friends or anyone that the lady knew, because typically demographically a lot of the same type of people who have things in common talk. Maybe she knows someone.
Well, I was more getting at what would be the next step in the woman that just gave birth, the new mother. What would be her next step? Maybe somebody to help her with dealing with infants.
Lose the weight.
Okay, lose the weight. That would be a good one. So that would be a good second program that you could put together for yourself. However, you could. What I was more getting at,
new parenting, and
yes,
trying to figure out schedules.
If you can create your own program that deals with that, that would be the next great step. But what about dealing with an affiliate relationship? What maybe you work together with people that baby-proof houses, people that builds cribs, or dealing or another company that deals with infants. And then when in those cases that you could have an affiliate relationship with them, you refer business to them, and maybe they pay you a 20 or 25% affiliate commission. And could that also work in the reverse order? If somebody that runs an infant store and they knows a woman that says 3 or 5 months pregnant, could they refer a business back to you?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, whenever you're looking at a spiral model, you always want to look at, what steps and what problems are you going to be solving, and then what's the next step after that, and then if you can you provide that second solution or third solution, or can you have an affiliate relationship with somebody else that does that, and build a nice business together between the 2 or 3 of y'all.
Mhm.
Okay, Stephanie saying we offer. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Stephanie. Now, again, you do not want to make this into a large mega program, because do you see how in some cases, if you're solving one problem and you're solving the second problem, somebody's coming to you that they may not have that first problem. This is why you do not want to have a huge all-inclusive program. Now, you may have a program where, hey, you buy this, I'll give you 50% off, kind of like a holiday sale or something like that. But the thing is, the main thing I just wanted to make sure I was getting out is that whenever you're starting your business, especially if you're going to be providing a coaching service or some other type of services, how many actual problems can you be solving? And if you're not able to solve that problem, then how can you find an affiliate relationship to take that client to that next step? We also hope you said, okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just got 2 messages from Stephanie. That was a direct message. Sorry about that. Does anybody have any questions on this specific solution that I just talked about? And okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and share my screen one last time, because we're coming close to the end. Now, was everybody able to get the handouts in the chat? Okay, fantastic. Well, anyway, what I would like to offer, since you guys did show up, is that you can go to this website, or you go to our main website. They go to the same place. Go to optimalperformanceacademy.org, and you can schedule a 45-minute discovery session. I would love to hear more about your business and what it is that you do. Now, this is going to be completely free, and then after the discovery session, we'll find out if we're going to be a good work together. So Artemis, you did not get you may have come in. Okay, I'll put them back in the chat in case anybody came in late.
I did, I got everything.
Okay. So here you go. So again, we were talking about self-defined labels, your specific audience, problem, solution series, sales funnel, and spiral revenue model. And I hope everybody got some good information out of this event.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much for hosting this.
And what if you did get some out of this? Again, do the discovery session, and if you feel like I did a good job, if you could leave us a 5-star review, just go to optimalperformanceacademy.org/review, and that would take you to my Google business profile, where you could directly leave a review at that point there. So I would really appreciate that. That's the only ask that I have. And yeah, and if that's it, I'll keep sharing the window so that you guys have access to both links, the review links, as well as the main website. And are there any other questions before saying Happy Thanksgiving?
That's everything.
Now, just out of curiosity, I'm going to stop the recording right now.